Welcome to part 2 of our conversation with Mal Sedergreen. If you haven't listened to part 1, I strongly recommend that you go back to hear the full story, but also feel free to just listen to part 2. Why not do it in reverse? For everybody else, thanks for listening, thanks for following along, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this chat with Mal Sedergreen. I'll take it back a little bit, just to set the scene. Well, we've been playing this game on the podcast.
Okay, good.
Where I get
finally
each guest to ask a question of the next guest.
All right, okay.
So I've got a question for you from the previous episode.
All right.
Which was jazz musician Lillian Albazi.
What is special about the Melbourne music scene? What makes us unique? Do we have a distinct sound? And if you think we do, what is that sound? What do you think it sounds like?
Okay. Did Lillian go to Monash University by any chance?
She did.
Okay. So they've been very big on trying to, and I think their head lecturer there, Rob Burke, actually did an album, The Melbourne Sound, and defining the guitar sound with Doug DeVries and stuff like that. So what's special about Melbourne is we create music, but you can create it here in Melbourne, because I've always had that sort of situation that music's created anywhere. So do we need a Melbourne sound? Do we need a New York sound? Do we need a Paris sound? Do we need, a London sound? What makes Melbourne unique and Melbourne special is people bringing in their heritage of where they grew up. If someone grew up around here in Brunswick West, I'd want to hear a bit of them, Brunswick West in them. You grew up in Glen Waverley like myself, hopefully you can hear a little bit of Glen Waverley. You grew up in New York, you hopefully hear a bit of New York. Same with Paris, London, all those things. So I guess that's what makes us unique. We're here in Melbourne, but at no stage should we just categorise ourselves and go, we're Melbourne musicians. We're a musician, a jazz musician, full stop. And we can do what we do here, over there, anywhere we decide to do it. I think, as you know, I'm lucky enough to have heard and been part of, well, not been part of, but I was, through Bob, one of the greatest bands to perform, which is the Allan Browne Quartet. We were the first band to tour all the European festivals and play, alongside Max Roach, Elvin Jones, Freddie Hubbard in 1978. And as part of that, Bob said, I'm going to be playing, because he's one of the first guys to explore synthesizers in Australia and play them. So I had to do that. But we must play Australian music was Brian's thing.
Okay. And
take Australian music. So we do have a distinctive sound. But what makes our distinct doesn't mean we can't play any other style of music in the world. Because there's one word that I'd like to dismiss out of anyone's vocabulary. And it's spelled this, L-O-C-A-L.
Okay.
You can say it.
Oh, local.
Local, right. Local musician. Well, everyone's local in their own situation. So at no stage should we really be defining someone from where they're born or how they are, or in the sense of, we take the great pianist Michel Petrucciani. I think so, Just anyone can play, that's what I say. Anyone can play a B flat. You want to play it from your point of view. Anyone can hit a right cymbal, but you want to hit it from your point of view. But in order to do that, you can't start that from anywhere. You need to have a unique history in understanding what's going on before you and delve into it and try and explore it to that next level. Yeah.
What question?
She had 3 questions, by the way. I only answered 1. Sorry.
It's fine. Would you like to answer any of the other parts?
If I could remember them, Luke.
What is special about the Melbourne music scene? What makes us unique? Do we have a distinct sound? And if you think we do, what is that sound?
Oh, I think I answered all those questions and more. Because what makes us is us, we're here. We could play any style, And we can, and that's been proven time and time again when people have come over and go, oh, you guys can swing. Not me personally. Well, in that sense, you guys can do this, this, and this. Or you have a deeper understanding, because I think music's more than defining it into that point of view. But it does need to be defined. But if we define it too much, then it's just Luke Singleton, Melbourne musician. And I apologise, I forgot. Lillian.
Yeah, Lillian Elbazi.
Yeah, well, Lillian Elbazi would have a very interesting history, which would obviously maybe change the way that she, and I'll go check her out when I leave here, to allow her to sing in a unique way. That's her thing, whether she's singing a standard or whether she's singing an original musician, because Lillian's Lillian. Mm. But then you get, I guess the thing is, where do you cross over? And then we go back to what it is. Where do we cross over? What sort of musician what sort of line do we want to travel down, and then what are we going to do? Mm. So there's that classic thing you do. Michael Bublé is a classic example. And how did we get around to Michael Bublé?
I don't know, but tell me more.
Well, in the sense of Michael Bublé, fantastic vocalist, but what did he do? He came out, he sang like Frank Sinatra. He did all those Frank Sinatra situations, built his brand. Oh, I hate that word. Built his brand, but I'll use it anyway. And then crossed over and started doing his own thing. So you can do that as well. Mm. But he still was Michael Bublé, because he'll never be Frank Sinatra. He's an amazing musician too. So yeah. Going across that, that's it. So yeah, no, I think there's what makes us is us. What I'd like to see though is allow that to, you could pick any song in the world. Yeah, pick a song for me, Luke. Anyone.
Oh, any song in the world.
Yeah, pick a song, right? Can be anything.
Blame It on the Boogie is
Blame It on the Boogie, right? Great song, right? Great Jackson 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you want to sing that, but you want to sing it from your point of view. Michael Jackson, we don't, one of the great musicians, right? From a music point of view, we won't get into the other stuff because that's a interesting conversation. But the key is blame it on the boogie. If I heard you playing that, right, you could do two ways. I could cover it, try and play it like the Jackson 5. Or Michael Jackson. I'm trying to think which album it was on.
Jackson 5.
Jackson 5, yeah. Because we don't blame everything on the sunshine. We only blame it on the boogie, don't we? So the key would be is I'm just going to cover that, and that's going to be my thing, and I'm going to play that, and I'm going to go out and entertain the people because that's what I want to do. Mm. Or I could do it and I do something so unique to it that it becomes mine. And that's where that is. So so I'll go check, and I love the question, but I don't want to I don't think we need to define. We do live in Melbourne, but I don't want us to be defined by that. But what makes us Melbourne is what Melbourne's about. One of the greatest places. You've travelled, you come back, you fly into Melbourne, you go, wow, we're so fortunate here. Mm. But it goes back to what we were talking about before. Is the support there? Maybe, maybe not. But again, it's a struggle, and I wish all those musicians well on their journey. So yeah.
What would you like to ask the next musician?
Oh. All right. They're a musician, are they?
Yes.
So it's not specifically a jazz musician.
Not specifically a jazz musician. Lots of different roles and styles on the show.
Okay. What makes you you?
That's excellent.
That's the question.
I love it. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
We're going to play a quick rapid fire
question. Oh, great.
Game.
Good, yeah.
All right, so 5 quick questions.
Okay, go. Rapid.
What's your favourite venue to play in Melbourne?
That's not a rapid fire question because there's so many venues, and they, again, going back to what Lily.
Yeah, Lillian Elbazi.
Lillian. What Lillian asks is they all have different temperaments. Mm-hmm. and trying to make them work are all different. So, for instance, I play at the Lido Jazz Club, which is, seats about 40 people in the cinema down there in Hawthorne, and he's got a matching venue in Southside, which is in Elstonwick at the Palace, a little bit bigger. And then, you've got the Paris Cat, and you've got venues going left, right and centre. So, I mean, I was lucky enough to play at the hotel up here with an L. Now that's in Brunswick. It's an institution.
Oh, but it starts with L.
The Lowy.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Threw me for a moment.
No. Again, because things play, but I guess it's just trying to, again, make the venue. It's great to have those venues, and for all those people who have venues, it's great. And I've played at heaps of venues. But I think the best one is where you can connect with the audience, where you get treated respectfully as an artist, and can create what you need to create. So, yeah. It wasn't rapid fire, but yeah.
Is there any of those that you could describe as being your favourite?
I don't know.
It's
I think
just on the night, the audience.
The favourite is when you walk off the stage and you've had a great night, or you've communicated, or something's happened.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's great to have the venue. And if we go back to the original Bennett's Lane, Michael Tortoni, who ran that venue, now runs the Jazz Lab here, worked really hard to set up that place to have a acoustic connection, the original one, the small one, not the larger one. And so I remember going there one night with the Identities, and I wrote a song called The Jazz Club, because it has done that. But I guess it's not my favourite would be the venues that I haven't played yet. You know what I mean? So, you play Hamer Hall, that's a different kettle of fish. There's just so many different, play outside, in the parks. There's just so many different things. But I wouldn't have a favourite venue. I guess my favourite venue would be the venue that I want to set up, which gives everyone the opportunity to come and play music and to keep flowing on from what they do.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't exist yet. It might after. You never know, Luke.
You never know.
You're going to get a call.
Well, that leads us into the next question. What would be your dream venue to play at?
I think the dream venue would be a dream venue, utopia venue. Got a great PA. Dream venues. Exactly. So that's you stumped me there, because I guess the dream venue is when you've walked off the gig and you've had that moment.
Mm.
Whereas you've gone, what was that? I can't remember what happened. All I know is we created something. And I was watching a great clip with the great jazz drummer who played, Roy McCurdy, who was part of the Adderley band, but also played with anything. And he said we were regular. I guess the dream venue would be one that has bands playing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by a band is someone who's been together for a long time, so you can hear where they understand each other, and they're stretching each other out to try and to go somewhere with that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that would be a venue which has bands, rather than a venue, and don't get me wrong, that has music. I mean, I'm so eclectic. A dream venue is going and hearing great music, no matter what style, who, where, what is playing it. That'd be my dream venue.
It's so interesting how abstract you take these questions.
Well, because they're so set. But the way I think is uniquely different.
It is
to what we want. But I guess the main thing I want to get across is I love music, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to play it and continue to play it, and fortunate enough to teach it, to allow that to come across.
Mm-hmm.
And, to be here, I'm grateful. Thanks, Luke, for having us, which we really appreciate that. But to know that you're still doing what you're doing, and all those people who are involved with you, because people ask me, they come to my room and they see all the things in my room, and I go, every time I go on stage at this school, I take everyone with me who's been and who's currently there and trying to create what we started when I arrived there.
Yeah.
That it's a unique institution. So I guess that's what it is. It's trying to get that across, but it's hard to get that across because you want to know how to get it across, but also you don't want to get it across where you offend anyone. Not that you intentionally do that, but the world has changed so much these days that one wrong word can mean cancelling, or like when we talk about Michael Jackson, I like to talk about Michael Jackson because I reckon his music just still gets me these days. If I put on any Michael Jackson album and I go, wow, how did they create that? What I mean? How did he? I mean, there's that great documentary about We Are the World. Have you watched that yet?
Yeah.
Well, it was really uniquely interesting to go, okay, they had a concept, they got it together. But really, Lionel was writing it, and then Michael was, this we want to do here. So the creative process is really interesting, and that's what's great about all these things now is you've got instant access to it. But I guess the biggest thing is we still have musicians who are alive who were here I'm not saying Melbourne music scene is not what it was and can't turn back what it used to be, but we've just gone through 3 years or 4 years of, where the arts got forgotten about. Where was I going with this, Luke? So what am I trying? Oh, we still have people around of my ilk and beyond who I think that people should, that would be the greatest gift. As well as asking the question now, who would you want to go and see and talk to with the music you play who's still alive, that you can get an understanding of what actually happened to allow yourself to do that. Because when I was younger, I was, I did silly things. Like, so Miles Davis was playing at the concert hall, which was amazing to see that twice. And I had this book that I'd bought that when any artist came down, it had their signatures, and there was a history of this book, and Miles was there, and I thought, Hamill, yeah, I'm going to, walk down and get Miles's autograph. So I walked down, and Bob took me down, I think it was Michael Koppel, was it, who was doing that, and said, so he said, give me the book, and took the book away, and then brought me the book back, here's his signature, and it's like got a scribble. And then Miles, and I went, no, I'm going to wait for Miles Davis and get him to sign this book. You know what I mean? So it's thinking out. I don't know how we got there. So it's thinking outside the square. But I think we still have a lot of people, not only who are in the institutions, but outside the institutions that have great stories to tell that you want to know about, so you can really get a greater understanding of what happened. Like we take Joe Camilleri in the Black Sorrows, all right, and you have a great connection there. But to understand what went through there and how that all happened, it's great to watch Joe's documentary. But we have people who worked and were in that scene. We have people, the jazz scene now. A lot of those guys are now they're in their 80s. But they're still alive, so it take nothing to go and have a chat to them and go, what actually happened? How did this all work? What was it like in the 50s and 60s when jazz was in its infancy in this country, and how did it develop to what it became? So I think that's the key too. As I think it's great to have all these YouTube and articles and stuff like that. But if you can talk to, going back, it's like Gil Askey thing, you can talk to, you're lucky enough to be able to have a chat to these people and get an understanding, then they're going to really be able to give you, it's going to allow you to develop your process and how you think about things, but also you've got it from the original source. So, for instance, in the jazz scene now, and that's what, it was great to hear Marcus Miller give this speak with... It'll come to me now, and I'll text you when I finish. But talk about, that was golden period, it will come back, but it's different. But, he's one of the greatest musicians in the world, and so just to hear him, and he was playing too with his band.
Oh, okay.
And from the moment he popped up, and he just picked up his bass and he just started, and I went, oh my God, you know what I mean? It was just a moment, but then I ran and I checked out something else. But yeah, you can tell. I mean, when I was here and I was playing with Axel Whitehead band, and we did a lot of good things with that. Well, the young musicians said, we're going to see Toto, and I'd already loved Toto, But,
Yep.
And when I saw Steve Lukather touch his guitar and play one note, he had the same thing that Miles and they all have, and Bob and all these great musicians have.
Mm.
I don't know how you quantify that,
Mm-hmm.
but if you can get to speak well, you should be actually going and seeing these musicians play, then you get a greater understanding of what the seat was, but also how they develop their things. And I'm talking away from the institutionalisation. That's great. All these great courses, the college, Conservatorium of Music now, and Monash, and Whopper, and they're amazing institutions. But there are also all these other, and that's going back to what that Gillespie philosophy taught me, and it always is. I was lucky enough to go and ask questions and be with these people. What was this? What was this? How did this happen? And I guess those musicians are still there that we can pass that on to as well. So yeah, that turned around from a different question. It wasn't rapid fire. You got one more though. Sorry,
I've got 3 more of the
3.
5.
All right, I'll try to be quick for you.
What is your coffee order?
I don't drink coffee.
What do you order when someone says, do you want to go get coffee?
Maybe an orange juice. As you know, I'm big on the green Gatorade. But no, I don't drink coffee. Never have. Again, I don't drink wine, but lucky enough that family holidays were every winery in the country, and so I can pick a really great wine. I love the smell of coffee, but I mean, I guess going out for coffee is going out and having a chat and just listening to people, hearing what they've got to say, and getting beyond that thing, getting to the authentic point is, because I think everyone's always got something they're wanting to say. And someone said to me, "Oh, what's your motive?" And I said, "I don't have a motive. I just really want to be able to converse with people and learn from them, and vice versa. And hopefully I can take that there." So yeah. So no, I don't drink coffee, but I wish I did.
What is your favourite place to get food after a gig?
I think that's changed over time. I think back in the day there are many souvlaki places open, there are many pizza joints open. There was so many venues that people would go hang out in. So I think, like, where was it recently? I think, what was it, in the 90s, La Porchetta was a big hangout in, it's not Lygon Street, is it? It's... Rathdown.
Rathdown.
The original
yes.
one. Yeah, that was a big hangout. And
Toto's.
Toto's.
It's been empty for years now.
Yeah, I know. You see, that shows you. So, Toto, there was many hangouts where musicians would hang out.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd see musicians walking through too. So, I mean, it's, how do we say? It's something you don't want to get to after the gig because maybe it's not good for your health and how you might look afterwards because, but, I think creating that band concept and hanging out in a band or hanging out with people and creating and talking and just hanging out really creates great music. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right, I'm going to try a variation on the final question.
Okay, well, no, what's the original one?
Well, because of what Al Kerr suggested that I ask you instead.
Okay.
Because he didn't like the question.
Who's Al Kerr?
He is a...
forgive my ignorance too.
No, he's a Melbourne-based drummer and percussionist specialising in Brazilian music.
Fantastic.
He's musical director of Panorama Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah, so he spent a lot of time back and forth.
So you have to excuse me on this podcast because
that's fine.
There's lots of musicians that I don't know about that I will look forward to getting into. So
that's part of the fun thing.
So when I say who's that, I don't mean it from that point of view.
No, I understand.
It's just that, look, the great Don Burrows helped me one day because I said to Don, when I was younger, Don, I'd go to the older musicians and go, who's this person? Who's this person? And they couldn't remember who this person was.
Mm-hmm.
I go, that's strange because I can remember everyone. Bang, 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 every gig. But as you get older, you meet so many people and stuff. And this happened at the gig the other night. I was playing at the gig and there was a person there go, remember me? And I go, oh. and it came back,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't put time. And he said, Mal, that's all right, don't worry. It's like people used to go to me and I'd be playing at Bondi and I'd be walking somewhere and they go, in 1959, Don, we were walking to the establishment and can you remember who I was? So yeah.
Wow.
So all those things are, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have all those things, but helped along the way because you can ask questions like that if, someone who was such a stalwart in our industry. Yeah, obviously we spoke more, but very rarely do I get into the intricates of, and this is a thing too, pet hate of mine, is people come to my gig and go, I love the whole tone you played. Oh, what about that sharp 13? And I go, no, actually you're not listening. Maybe I did, but that's not the core of what I'm doing. The core of what I'm doing is I'm trying to communicate how I feel. And the thing of being about a true musician is, sometimes you're not going to have some great nights. And it's you get better at covering that up. But it goes to the core because that's what we're on about, is the core of being drummers, real coffee drinkers, musicians. Anyway, going back to your question, Luke.
So the question is, what's one piece of advice that you'd give your younger self, or with El Kerr's variation, that your younger self would have actually listened to?
Very wise man. Look, I guess the one key advice that anyone would give their younger self is to do more work when they're younger.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because when you're younger, you do a lot of things, but you don't do as much as maybe as you can do. And as you get older, things change, so it doesn't allow you to get there as quick as you would want to get there. So what I mean by that is whether it relates to practice or whether it relates to listening, whether it relates to just having the guts to go up and have a chat to somebody, all those things. I guess that's what you're younger. But you can't, in hindsight, the only problem with this question, Luke, is you can't go back. You always want to go back. I might want to go back and have a listen over this, and maybe you'll give me an opportunity to do that. But you can't go back, and that's the great thing, is you can only propel forward. And as you know, most drummers, the greatest drummers, that's what they do. It's about forward propulsion. Music needs to move forward, but needs to have a great sense of history of it so people can understand that. So I really thank you for having me here today. It's been amazing. I'm really touched that you even rang me. That's so kind of you. But I guess I've made you even more complicated now. You've left with more questions than the questions you have. So yeah, our younger selves are great, but we need to allow ourselves to not go back there, because you can delve in and go, I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done that. I mean, how many times where someone says, we're going to send you here, and you went, oh, that's great. But you went, oh, no, actually, no, I'm not ready yet. And that opportunity. So it's all about opportunities as well. But as I said, I'm fortunate enough to still be sitting here, still be doing what I'm doing, still hearing about all these great musicians that are creating great music and trying to do what we do. But I guess in all honesty, I just love them to have the opportunity to do that on a full-time basis. So I don't, not in the essence of, I had a young musician the other day going, oh, I'm going to have to go do some teaching, but I don't really like it. I said, well, don't do it. We don't want to do that. So yeah, but again, going back to my younger self, will still do what I'm doing now, which is trying to find that moment in the music and playing it. But I can't change my younger self. My younger self was truthful and said things as they were, as my older self doing it, but just does it in a very different way.
Well, thanks so much. I feel very honoured that you've come on the podcast to share these stories with me.
I'd like to do another one though, Luke.
I'd love you to do another one too.
An updated one after this one. But I really think it's great. I guess the key being is the more that we can ask people, and the more that we've got people that we can go and talk to, will give us a greater insight to what that is. It's one thing to look at YouTube. It's one thing to listen to recordings. But it's another thing to actually speak to these people who've been there, done that, and are continuously to do that, or maybe not, to allow yourselves to go, all right, that makes a lot more sense. You know, as you know, in the institution that I teach at, there's and a lot of those teachers, I'm seeing a lot of those teachers above me now retiring, have a wealth of knowledge, and then let's make sure that we don't lose that wealth of knowledge by going and asking questions. Maybe like yourself, you go, oh, maybe I should have, whatever it is. So yeah, that's the key to anything. The key to life is loving what you do and being able to do it in any form and transfer music from what it is to what it can be, which is anything. It's in the air now. We stop talking for a second, you go, but I don't hear anything. But you're actually hearing music.
Thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Luke. You are number one.
Thanks for joining us on Our Drummers Musicians. I hope you enjoyed getting to know another Melbourne muso like I did. Help us grow by leaving a review, share the podcast with friends and family, and subscribe on our website for extra info. Got a guest you'd love to hear on the show? Please let us know at ourdrummersmusicians.com. See you next time.